Hi guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be reviewing Mickey 7 and Antimatter Blues by the author Edward Ashton. Both of these books are adult science fiction. The thing is though, I don't know if this is supposed to be a series or a duology. With the way that Antimatter Blues wrapped up, it seemed like it was going to be a duology. Stranger things have happened, so if another book does get included in this, of course, I will review it, but at this time, I'm just going to be talking about these two books. So I read Mickey 7 last year when it came out, and I absolutely fell in love with that book. It ended up in my top books of 2022. Because of that, Antimatter Blues was on my most anticipated reads for this year, 2023. It was released in April, so this month, and I ended up doing a buddy read with my good friend Nakia over at Nakia's Hideaway. I will have her channel linked down below. You guys should really subscribe to her if you haven't already. Lovely channel. But we did a buddy read for Antimatter Blues, and I have thoughts. So how I will structure these reviews is I will go over the plot for each of these. I will talk about the characters, the things that I liked versus the things that I disliked, but I will keep everything spoiler free. I will most likely talk more about Mickey 7 than I will about Antimatter Blues, just because Antimatter Blues is the sequel, and like I said, I want to keep everything spoiler free. But at the very end of this video, I do have some rumored news for Mickey 7 that I think will be very exciting for all of us who have enjoyed Mickey 7 or who are interested in Mickey 7. So I can't wait to talk about that, but we will go ahead and get started. So starting off with Mickey 7, this one follows Mickey and a whole bunch of other people that are living on this planet that is called Niflheim. And so Mickey is what we would consider a expendable. And so his job is just taking on this really dangerous missions that could potentially get him killed. And if he gets killed, they just make another version of him. And so at the start of the story, we are on iteration number 7 of Mickey. And so when the story begins, Mickey is out on a mission with his partner Berto, who is also Mickey's best friend. When Mickey is on this mission, he gets kind of stuck, and Berto assumes that Mickey is dead and leaves him. Mickey makes it back to their home base, which they call the Dome. And when Mickey gets there, he notices that Berto has already reported him as dead, and another version of Mickey has already been formed. So now we have Mickey 8. When Mickey 7 encounters Mickey 8, they now realize that there is a problem, because one of the rules with his job as an expendable is that there is never supposed to be 2 iterations of Mickey at the same time. So Mickey number 7 and Mickey number 8 now have to keep the secret from everybody in the Dome that there are 2 versions of them out here running around. While they're trying to figure that whole situation out and make sure that nobody sees them at the exact same time, Mickey is also starting to kind of question his other past selves and what actually happened to him. And so he's starting to have like these internal struggles because he feels like he's been lied to, especially with how he has died in the past. So he's trying to figure that out. And the Dome, the people that live at their home base, they are also struggling with these creatures called the Creepers. They kind of remind me of when they're described like really big, dangerous caterpillars. Probably not the best descriptions, but that's what's in my mind when they're described. But they're called Creepers, and they've been getting closer and closer to the Dome. They're posing a threat, and people are starting to get killed. Now we have Mickey 7 and Mickey 8 running around. Mickey 7 is starting to wonder what happened to the other versions of himself and how he really died and how he became Mickey 7. And now we have Creepers approaching the Dome. So that is what Mickey 7 is about. So I already mentioned 3 characters. So we have Mickey 7, who's an expendable. We have Mickey 8 that just was developed because we thought Mickey 7 was dead. We also have Berto, who is Mickey 7's best friend. He's also like the daredevil out of the group. He likes to do things he shouldn't be doing. He likes to take on more of the dangerous work as well. We also follow this woman by the name of Nasha, who is Mickey's girlfriend. She became his girlfriend when he was on number 3. So when he was Mickey 3, they apparently got together. And so she plays a really big part in this story as well as in AntiMatter Blues. She's also described as just like a badass. People seem to be afraid of her. We also follow this man by the name of Marshall, and he is the commander of the Dome. He's the big head honcho. He delivers everybody's orders, and he does not like Mickey. There is like this rivalry between Mickey and Marshall throughout both of the books, and he does not really agree with anyone having the job of an expendable. And his take on that is he believes that these expendables are soulless. And there's a term that they have for people who don't believe in expendables, and they're called natalists. And there is a group of people who don't like anyone who takes on this sort of job. And so anytime Marshall interacts with Mickey, you can just feel the disgust that he has for Mickey. And it's very clear that they do not like each other throughout both of these books. And then there's also a character by the name of Kat. She comes in later in the story, and she becomes a friend of Mickey's as well. There's other things that we learn throughout this book. We learn how Mickey decides that he wants to become an expendable because it's not a job that anybody would want to do. Like I said, you're taking on these dangerous missions with the possibility of getting killed, and it's not a good way to go anytime you go. So we eventually learn how Mickey became Mickey 7 and how he died all those other times, and they were not pleasant deaths. Of course, anytime anyone dies, I'm sure it's not pleasant, but the ways that he was taken out, not good. So we learn why in the heck he would want to sign up to be an expendable. We also learn how these people ended up on this planet. We learn about some of their journey to the planet, and there's just other things that we learn about their life there on Niflheim. So like I said in the beginning, I fell in love with this book. One of the things that I absolutely loved about this book, and when I picked it up, I was unable to put it down, was because I loved the banter between Mickey 7 and Mickey 8 when they encountered each other for the first time, and then all of the wild and crazy things that happened with them just trying to keep themselves a secret from everybody else and trying not to get caught and seen at the same time. I loved that throughout this entire story. I also explained how Marshall and Mickey do not get along, so every time they interacted with each other, it was hilarious. I have had so many different conversations that Marshall and Mickey have with each other because their conversations were just hilarious. Like I said, you could just feel the disgust that Marshall had every time that he had to talk to Mickey. I freaking love that. So when I first picked this up, I read this physically, and then I did a reread before I picked up the second book. And on reread, I listened to this on audio, and I would highly recommend the audio because there are a lot of sound effects. The communication that they do with each other a lot of the times is through like their comm systems, and there's a lot of sound effects when they're talking to each other through their comms, and I thought that that added a lot to the story. And so if you're gonna check this out, I would recommend the audiobook. That just made me love the story even more, especially on a reread. Now, I rated this story a 4 stars. Even the second time that I rated it, I still rated it a 4 stars. And even though it's only a 4 stars, I still put it in my top books of 2022 because I still loved it, but it was not perfect, obviously. Some of the things that I had an issue with is just how science heavy it got at times, and the science bits that it was giving us was kind of boring. And anytime that it started to get really science heavy, I just felt myself being taken out of the story. And so I just felt myself getting a little bit bored during those moments. And then there was this part in the story that the first time I read it, it didn't necessarily bother me. I'm just not sure if I was just not paying attention to it. But then when I listened to it on audiobook, it just didn't sit well with me the second time. And it was just a scene that probably won't bother a lot of people, but it just bothered me. That involved 3 characters, and I don't think we needed that in here, but I didn't really care for it and I didn't like it. But taking those 2 things out of here, I really enjoyed this one. I would highly recommend this book. And like I said, because I like this book so much, I went ahead and picked up AntiMatter Blues. Again, I did a buddy read with this with my friend Nakia over at Nakia's Hideaway. Again, I will have her channel linked down below in my description bar. If you guys have not subscribed to her channel, I would definitely subscribe to her channel. This one, I do not have the same feelings for like I did with Mickey 7. In this one, we are still following Mickey. This one takes place 2 years after the events of Mickey 7. We are now at the end of summer, we are approaching winter, and Mickey has lost something very, very important. And the thing that he has lost is very vital for their survival through winter, and Marshall has demanded that Mickey go find the thing that he has lost. And so Mickey has gotten this crew together, and now they have to go out on this planet and find the thing that he has lost. And so we are following Mickey and his crew as they are exploring this planet to figure out where this thing is at so that they can survive and not die. Because if they don't find it, not only will Mickey and the crew die, but everyone on this planet will die. So for this one, we're still following Mickey. We're still following those same characters that I mentioned before in Mickey 7, but there are some other characters that we follow as well that I don't want to mention because I don't want to spoil anything. We also learn about some new creatures that are on this planet, and there's even some more action that is in this story than we got in the first story. So some of the things that I liked about this one is also some of the things that I just mentioned, which would be learning about some of the new creatures that we didn't know about in Mickey 7. The introduction of some of those new characters, and because we got some of those new characters, I again loved the banter that we had with those new characters and Mickey and the crew. I just love the different conversations that this author is able to put together. I think that they're really entertaining and funny. And of course, I really enjoyed, just like in the first book, I love the interactions that we got between Marshall and Mickey. Just like in that first book, Marshall didn't like Mickey. In this one, still the same. Marshall cannot stand Mickey. My downfall with this book, and it started off very early on, is that it took a minute for this book to get going. And me and Nakia had the same feelings for this one. It didn't have that same appeal that Mickey 7 had. I feel in Mickey 7, there was a point in that story where I did not want to put that book down and I flew through it. Whereas with this one, in the beginning, it took a while for me to even get into the story. But after a certain point, even when I did get into the story, once I put the book down, it wasn't a book that I was reaching for. When I did pick it up, I was interested in it, but as soon as I put it down, it's not a story that I feel like I was thinking about again. In this one, unlike Mickey 7, we don't have Mickey interacting with another Mickey. Other Mickeys are mentioned, but it's lacking the banter that we had in Mickey 7. And so I really miss that. We do get him bickering back and forth with other people, but just not in the same way that we had in Mickey 7. My biggest complaint that I had with this one was the ending. I thought the ending was so chaotic and it was all over the place. There was things that was happening that just wasn't explained, or we didn't get enough explanation. Characters were doing things that were so uncharacteristic for them to do. I either wanted more from the ending or the ending just did too much. Like I said, the best way to describe the ending for me was it was just chaotic. So for AntiMatter Blues, I ended up giving this one a 3 stars. It was a slow start for me in the beginning. It was a very chaotic and unsatisfying ending. But the middle of the book I did enjoy, so for that I had to settle right in the middle and just give this one a 3 stars. Overall, with this duology series, whatever we're going to call this one, I did enjoy it. Out of both of them, obviously, I'm going to pick Mickey 7. I'm going to always highly recommend Mickey 7. That book has my heart. I think I would consider like Mickey 7 one of those comfort reads. I enjoyed it the first time I read it. I enjoyed it the second time I read it. And I probably will end up reading that book again because I enjoyed Mickey as a character that much. AntiMatter Blues, I feel I'm in the minority with that one because when I looked up reviews on Goodreads, so many people enjoyed that one. Nakia actually pointed this out to me because I didn't realize this, but AntiMatter Blues has a higher rating than Mickey 7. So obviously people are connecting with AntiMatter Blues more than Mickey 7. So something in that book we did not connect with because she had the same thoughts on AntiMatter Blues like I did. I mean, if you enjoy Mickey 7, I would say try AntiMatter Blues. Maybe you will enjoy it. For me, it just wasn't as enjoyable as Mickey 7. If you are watching this and you have not read either one of these, I would highly recommend Mickey 7 because it was a fantastic book. I feel Mickey will just warm your heart. It was a fast-paced story. It was funny. It was fun. It was entertaining. I had a great time with that first book. So I did mention before that I had something that I wanted to share with you guys because I thought it was great rumored news. And I say rumored because I'm hoping that it's true. But what I wanted to share is that I heard that Mickey 7 is going to be made into a movie that is called Mickey 17. I thought them changing the name from Mickey 7 to Mickey 17 was strange, and I hate when they do stuff like that. But the reason why they changed it from Mickey 7 to Mickey 17 apparently is because Mickey 17 has just been through a lot more iterations than Mickey 7. But the person set to play Mickey 17 is Robert Pattinson. And the person that is set to direct the film is the same director that directed the movie Parasite. I was going to try to pronounce that name. I'm not even going to try it because I don't want to embarrass myself and I don't want to butcher that person's name. So the same person that directed the film Parasite. So this is supposed, quote unquote, supposed to come out sometime in March of 2024. So I'm here for that. I'm excited for this news. I'm hoping that it's true. But I will link the article that I read that had all this information if you guys are interested and if you guys want to check this out. So I'll have that link down below in my description bar. So that is all that I have for you guys. But if you have read Mickey 7 or if you have read Mickey 7 and AntiMatter Blues and you want to let me know your thoughts, please let me know down in the comments. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.